There are moments in life that defy understanding, events that rip through the fabric of our perceived reality, leaving behind a void filled with questions, not answers. Among these, few are as haunting as the sudden, silent disappearance of a modern marvel, a vessel of human ingenuity vanishing without a trace, without even a whisper of distress. We speak of the final 10 minutes, a span of time so brief, yet so utterly transformative, that it holds the key to a profound mystery. A mystery that On Say Explored offers not just a chilling enigma, but a powerful lesson for us all. Imagine, if you will, Flight 714, a routine journey across vast oceans, a Boeing 770 Isechi gleaming, meticulously maintained, a testament to decades of aerospace innovation, a highly qualified crew, Captain Arthur Miller and First Officer Sarah Davies, seasoned professionals with thousands of hours in the cockpit, their lives dedicated to the safe passage of their passengers. The cabin hummed with the quiet rhythm of a long-haul flight, passengers reading, sleeping, dreaming of destinations. There were no storm warnings on the radar, no mechanical alerts blaring in the cockpit, no frantic calls from air traffic control. Everything, outwardly, was normal. The pre-flight checks were perfect, the aircraft systems green, the crew rested and alert. This was not a flight destined for public chaos, for a dramatic, televised emergency. This was a flight proceeding under seemingly optimal conditions, a testament to human engineering and meticulous planning. Yet, beneath this veneer of normalcy, something began to stir, not a bang, but a whimper, not a sudden catastrophic failure, but a subtle, almost imperceptible shift. The final 10 minutes before Flight 714 lost contact were not marked by a cacophony of alarms or the frantic shouts of a crew battling an immediate, obvious crisis. Instead, the data meticulously reconstructed from fragmented signals and satellite pings tells a different story, a story of overlooked minor signals. It began subtly, a slight deviation in altitude, so minor it might have been attributed to atmospheric conditions, or a momentary autopilot adjustment. Then, a fractional change in speed, barely registering on the threshold of concern. These were not red flags, waving wildly. They were faint tremors, barely discernible ripples on a calm surface. Imagine the thousands of data points streaming from a modern aircraft every second. A momentary flicker in a sensor reading. A tiny blip in a communication log. Individually, each might be dismissed as an anomaly. A transient glitch in a complex system designed for redundancy. But collectively, in hindsight, they painted a picture of a gradual, insidious degradation. This wasn't a sudden, cataclysmic event that ripped the plane from the sky. It was a slow, almost graceful dance into the unknown, a subtle unwinding of control. The detailed timeline reveals this chilling progression. First, a slight delay in a routine communication check-in. Then, a drop in the frequency of automated system reports. Later, a subtle inconsistency in the altitude hold, followed by a slight, uncommanded change in heading. Each event, in isolation, might be explained away, but viewed as a sequence, they become a terrifying prelude to silence. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most dangerous threats don't announce themselves with fanfare, but creep in, unnoticed, until they bay tack en route. And then, the silence. Complete, absolute, terrifying. Not a single distress signal. No mayday, mayday, mayday. No final, urgent plea from Captain Miller or First Officer Davies. Just an abrupt cessation of all communication, all data, all presence on the radar. This absence of a distress call is perhaps the most perplexing and heartbreaking aspect of the mystery. In aviation, a mighty call is instinctual, a fundamental protocol, the last line of defense in a crisis. Its absence speaks volumes. Or, rather, it speaks of a void. What could possibly silence two highly trained pilots so completely, so instantaneously, that they couldn't even utter a single word? Silence, we must understand, does not mean there was no crisis. On the contrary, it suggests a crisis of such overwhelming magnitude, or such insidious subtlety, that it rendered the crew incapable of reaction. Consider the possibilities. Perhaps the events unfolded too quickly, a catastrophic failure so sudden that it left no time for human response. Imagine a sudden, explosive decompression at cruising altitude, where the very air is ripped from the cabin, consciousness lost in mere seconds, or an electrical fire, spreading with terrifying speed, overwhelming the cockpit with smoke and fumes, disabling systems before a warning could be transmitted. Perhaps the crew was battling an unseen enemy, a loss of control that spiraled out of their grasp before they could even comprehend its full implications. They might have been overwhelmed, their attention completely consumed by a desperate struggle to regain command, to save the lives entrusted to them, leaving no mental bandwidth, no precio seconds, to key the microphone and speak. The crisis was there, undoubtedly, but it was a silent one, a private battle fought in the confines of the cockpit, tragically unheard by the world outside. The human mind, in its relentless pursuit of understanding, immediately conjures theories. Was it a sudden depressurization? A breach in the fuselage, causing Was it an electrical fire, silently consuming vital systems, blinding the crew, and choking their ability to communicate? Or did some unforeseen mechanical failure, a subtle yet critical flaw, lead to a gradual loss of control, a descent into an unrecoverable state before the crew could even grasp the full scope of their predicament? We know the exact time. Flight 714 lost contact. We have the last fragments of flight data, the final whispers of its systems before they fell silent. But what transpired in that cockpit during those final, fateful 10 minutes remains a chilling void. We don't know whether the initiating factor was human error, a mechanical failure, or a combination of both. We don't know if the crew fought valiantly until the very end, or if they were rendered helpless in an instant. The raw data provides clues, but no definitive answers. It paints a picture of a gradual decline, a slow fade, rather than a sudden obliteration. And that is perhaps the most profound part of this mystery. 10 minutes. 10 minutes was enough for everything to change, for a perfectly normal flight to become an inexplicable tragedy. But those 10 minutes were not enough to leave a clear explanation, not enough to provide the closure we so desperately seek. They left us with a chilling silence and a multitude of unanswered questions that echo through the years. This mystery of the final 10 minutes, while rooted in a tragic aviation event, offers us a profound lens through which to examine our own lives. How often do we, in our own journeys, miss the subtle signals, the minor deviations that precede a larger crisis? We live in a world that often demands immediate, dramatic warnings. Yet true wisdom lies in recognizing the quiet whispers before they become roars. Think of your own life, your relationships, your career, your health. Are there subtle shifts, minor inconsistencies, faint tremors that you might be overlooking? Perhaps a persistent feeling of unease, a small but growing disconnect with a loved one, a recurring minor ailment that you dismiss as insignificant. These are our personal minor signals, the early warning signs that, if heeded, could prevent a silent crisis. The absence of a Mayday call from Flight 714 serves as a stark reminder that silence does not equate to peace. Sometimes, the most profound struggles are fought in silence, unseen and unheard. Are we attentive enough to the unspoken needs of those around us? Do we create environments where people feel safe to voice their concerns, to send their Mayday before they are overwhelmed? Or do we, consciously or unconsciously, contribute to a culture of silence where subtle issues fester until they become insurmountable? The speed with which everything can change in just 10 minutes is a humbling lesson in vigilance and preparedness. Life is unpredictable. We can plan, we can prepare, we can strive for perfection, but there will always be unforeseen circumstances. The question then becomes, how do we cultivate resilience? How do we train ourselves to be adaptable, to respond effectively when the unexpected strikes, even if it strikes subtly? It's about building robust systems, not just in technology, but in our minds and spirits, systems of awareness, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. The unanswered questions about Flight 714 also remind us of the limits of our knowledge, and the continuous human drive to understand, to learn, and to improve. Even in the face of profound mystery, we do not surrender. We analyze, we theorize, we innovate, driven by the hope that by understanding what happened, we can prevent it from ever happening again. This unwavering commitment to safety, to truth, to progress, is an inherently inspirational aspect of the human spirit. The final 10 minutes of Flight 714 stand as a testament to the fragile line between order and chaos, between certainty and the terrifying unknown. They challenge us to look beyond the obvious, to listen to the whispers, and to understand that the most profound changes often begin subtly, quietly, in the spaces we least expect. This enduring mystery compels us not to fear the unknown, but to approach it with a heightened sense of awareness, a deeper commitment to understanding, and an unwavering resolve to learn from every experience, even the most tragic. For in every unanswered question lies an opportunity for growth, a call to vigilance, and a profound reminder of the preciousness of every single moment and every single signal in the journey of life. The silence of Flight 714 echoes, not just with loss, but with a powerful, unspoken lesson for humanity. If you find this content valuable, please subscribe to the channel